Which currency did George Soros famously break in 1992, netting a $1 billion profit in a single day? Italian lira, British pound, French franc, Japanese yen. This currency is historically tied to the sterling symbol. Correct answer, British pound. Soros shorted $10 billion worth of this currency, forcing Britain out of the European exchange rate mechanism. What is the term for a blockchain scaling solution that executes transactions off-chain and then posts data to layer 1? Sharding, sidechain, rollups, atomic swap. This technology bundles many transactions into one. Correct answer, rollups. Rollups can reduce transaction fees by up to 100x while maintaining the security of the main network. Which company held a secret 90% global monopoly on pencil graphite in the early 2000s through offshore networks? Faber-Castell, Dixon Ticonderoga, Kohinoor, BIC. Headquartered in the US, but with global manufacturing reach. Correct answer, Dixon Ticonderoga. This monopoly allowed the firm to dictate global stationery prices for decades. What does the term fat finger refer to in stock market trading? High margin leverage, a human keyboard error, buying oil stocks, aggressive management. It is a simple typo that changes the entire scale of a trade. Correct answer, a human keyboard error. In 2005, a Mizuho securities trader accidentally sold 610,000 shares for 1 yen instead of one share for 610,000 yen. Which nation was the first to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender in 2021? CAR, Paraguay, El Salvador, Panama. This country is located in Central America. Correct answer, El Salvador. The country's president announced plans for a Bitcoin city powered by geothermal energy from a volcano. What was the Cobra Effect in colonial India's economy? Rising spice prices, incentives that led to the opposite result, gold export ban, land tax increase. The government paid for snake heads, but people started breeding them for money. Correct answer, incentives that led to the opposite result. When rewards stopped, breeders released the cobras, making the population higher than before. Which corporation secretly controls Ray-Ban and Oakley, owning nearly 80% of the world's eyewear market? LVMH, Kering, Luxottica, Essilor. An Italian giant that merged with a French lens company. Correct answer, Luxottica. Luxottica owns both the luxury brands and the retail stores that sell them, controlling the entire supply chain. Which asset class had the highest return of the 2010s, outperforming the S&P 500 significantly? Gold, Amazon stocks, Bitcoin, Hong Kong real estate. This digital asset started the decade valued at less than $1. Correct answer, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's total return for the decade was over 9 million%. Who created the 1920s Boston scheme promising 50% profit in 45 days using international postal coupons? Bernie Madoff, Charles Ponzi, Jordan Belfort, Frank Abagnale. His last name became the universal term for this type of fraud. Correct answer, Charles Ponzi. Ponzi cheated investors out of $20 million before the scheme collapsed due to lack of new participants. What is a soft fork in blockchain technology? A split into two coins, a backward compatible update, a network shutdown, switching from POW to POS. Old nodes can still process blocks created by new rules. Correct answer, a backward compatible update. A soft fork doesn't require all users to upgrade to stay on the same network. Which country experienced the worst hyperinflation in 2008, with prices doubling every 24 hours? Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Turkey, Argentina. They eventually printed a $100 trillion note. Correct answer, Zimbabwe. At its peak, the monthly inflation rate was an astronomical 79.6 billion%. What was the tulip mania of 1637 primarily known for? The first stock exchange, the first recorded speculative bubble, a royal tax on flowers, a Dutch naval victory. At the peak, a single bulb cost more than a luxury house. Correct answer, the first recorded speculative bubble. Some rare tulip bulbs were traded for the price of an entire estate before the market collapsed in days. What is the black swan theory in finance developed by Nassim Taleb? A predictable market cycle, an unpredictable, rare event with massive impact, a bird-themed crypto coin, a strategy for shorting tech. Events like the 2008 crash or the 2020 pandemic fit this description. Correct answer, an unpredictable, rare event with massive impact. Black swan events are only rationalized as predictable after they have already occurred. What did the Glass-Steagall Act do in 1933? Ended the gold standard, separated commercial and investment banking, created the IRS, legalized offshore accounts. It was designed to prevent banks from gambling with people's deposits. Correct answer, separated commercial and investment banking. The repeal of this act in 1999 is often cited as a contributing factor to the 2008 financial crisis. In crypto, what is MEV, maximal extractable value? Mining rewards, profit extracted by reordering transactions, a new type of NFT, market capitalization. It involves bots, front-running, user trades in the mempool. Correct answer, profit extracted by reordering transactions. MEV searchers use complex algorithms to profit from the order of transactions inside a block.